Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. DStyle here. Let me get this sound check out of the way really quick. If you're listening on archive, make sure you throw a jab at that like button. All right, make sure you throw that jab. The sound's good. All right. So we're sound wise, we're ready to rock. As announced, I'll be bringing back boxing stories. That there's no schedule when it comes to this series. Okay, there's no like specific schedule or anything like that. All right. It looks like I'm gonna have to do audio. I didn't want to do audio for this one, but let me just kind of go. I'll go one step at a time, and we'll go from there. It's sunny outside. It's El Paso, Texas. What are you gonna do? Okay, that's what are you gonna do. Let me bring this up a little bit. Let me know if the audio's good. Want to make sure that the audio's good and everything. Make sure you guys can hear me before we get started. It's June 16th. June 16th of 2019. It is Father's Day today. And for me, it's my very first fatherless Father's Day. Now, I know that can sound depressing, but don't let it depress you. Okay? Just don't let that happen. I'm going to read through this really quick. Check it out. It's hot. It's hot as hell out here, man. I don't want this laptop to get hot, but so excuse me for that. Wanted to make sure you guys can see me. You're gonna go ahead and read over this right here. First of all, before I begin, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. All right. Feliz Día de los Padres to you guys. All right. As far as I have a lot more stories, man. When it comes to, I have stories with my uncles. I got stories with friends, all types of shit, man. I got so many stories. Shit's insane, man. It's insane. Go ahead and drink out of here. It's hot out here, so I'm going to be drinking water. So excuse me. All right. Forgive me. What are you going to do? Got this ready to me read off of this really quick. Before we get started with these stories, let me just read out of this. Today is Father's Day. My first fatherless Father's Day. I learned life lessons from both my father, who passed away in October of 2018, and my grandfather, who passed in July of 2009. The man I am today, how I act, what I say, how I treat others, it was instilled by them. My love for boxing was instilled by them. The memories I made watching fights with them, I will never forget them. Memories can live forever, even after your passing, if you share them. That's what I am doing now. I spoke about them at both their funerals, told stories about them to those that knew them. Now I tell stories about them to friends, acquaintances, and people I barely know online. Yet, even though I barely know or know anything at all of your regular lives, there's one thing that bonds us: a worldwide sport known as boxing, a sport that transcends language. The love for the sport should be a higher power. I swear, sometimes things happen in this sport. It makes me believe that there is some boxing gods out there. I fell in love with boxing at a very young age. Strangely, I don't remember that day or the day that day or the way to my uncle's house. I don't remember that morning. I don't even remember that night. But I do remember being in my uncle's living room with my dad. My dad sat in the sofa, and since the living room was crowded, the adults sat on the sofas and chairs. The kids sat on the floor. My back was against the sofa, sitting in front of my dad. I was a young kid. Little did I realize what I was about to see. It was Maldrick Taylor going up against Julio Cesar Chavez. This was a fight for pound supremacy, and the only fight that deserves the thunder versus lightning bill. The hand speed of Taylor was something to behold. The fastest hands I have ever seen till this day. Truly was like watching lightning move. And a prime Chavez with a thundering body work. It redefined determination. I didn't know anything about weight classes. I didn't know anything about belts or organizations. I was just a kid. A kid who just witnessed two warriors battle it out. It was violently poetic, a science of violence, a song of lightning and thunder. It was the best introduction I could have had. And from that day, I became a boxing fan. And to the last day, will remain a boxing fan. I might hate the politics. I may hate the agendas. I even hate the dumbing down of the sport some boxing fans do. I may not like the majority of the press, the promoters, and the actions of fighters outside of the ring. But the sweet science, I will always love that. My grandfather, from my mother's side, took the dad's role early in my age when my parents divorced. I, along with siblings, moved into his home. It was then where a weekly ritual of watching what he called the Tecate fights on Spanish television started. Those were some awesome times. Nothing like a good scrap from two guys you never heard of. Watching fighters go from those shows to suddenly being on back boxing after dark or was something special. My grandfather went all over the country working to feed his family throughout his life. He met all types of people and bet all kinds of money on fights. He told me some amazing stories. From a young age, he would talk to me about el boxeador y el fajador. That would translate to either the boxer versus the brawler, or the boxer versus the bruiser, or the boxer versus the aggressor. And what each fighter is trying to accomplish in the ring. He taught me that. The natural biases some fans have and judges have towards certain styles. He taught me that. How a ref is important in a fight. He taught me that. How the culture and the structure of weight classes change after the same day weigh-in was replaced by day before. I had a true head start in the fundamental understanding of boxing. This is DStyle's Boxing Series. This is DStyle Boxing Stories series. I apologize. Let's talk some stories here. Afro Rican in the house says we are ready. Okay, I'm not sure about this. Um, I'm not sure about that comment, bro. All right, I'm not sure about that shit. Okay, and if you didn't mean that's that. Afro Rican, what's going on, man? I'm not gonna be tainting my shit. I can tell you that right now. All right. And again, thanks to those joining me live, man. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you about first of all that Maldrick Taylor fight. Okay, I mean, talk about an introduction to boxing. Now I've heard of boxing before and all that, but I never like sat down and actually watched the fight. All right. And one thing I remember is one of my cousins wanted me to go to his room so we could play, X-Men or whatever it was, right, with the action figures. But my dad, all right, my dad convinced me to to stay and watch, right? I almost, all right, I almost, it's this guy's getting on my. I don't like that name, bro. All right, I just don't like that name on my channel. I'm just being honest. All right, um, I almost, we need a moderator with wrench here because I can't be like dealing with this shit. African, are you a moderator? Let me know. He almost convinced me, man. It was close. All right. I was so close to missing out, man. I may have that may have been a pivotal point. The boxing gods made sure that I sat on that floor and watched that fight. All right. We need DStyle boxing in the future. All right. So he's gonna sit down. This is where he's gonna be anointed. Let me give you a wrench, bro. And that guy comes here again. I want him out. Simple as that. All right. Time him out. Get rid of him. The fact of the matter is, I mean, hey, my name's Eric, by the way, but Eric, hey, let's go play, whatever, right? And I wanted to, man. He had like some brand new X-Men action figures and the whole nine. You've been knighted, by the way, Afro Rican. You got a wrench, right? He said, we got to go see this. Let's go play. And I almost went, and I remember being mad, right? I'm really mad that my dad said, no, you got to watch this. Like, okay, fine. Right. I sat down. I don't know what boxing was. I knew it was a fight, you know. I knew the shit was a fight. But the reality is I didn't know what boxing really was. Right. Like I think I've seen it on TV or something, on movies, but I never actually watched the fight. Never actually watched one. Now, what I'll admit is this, right? I don't remember if this was live or if this was a VHS. It was either that Saturday or the day after, one or the other. Okay, but I sat down with my dad. He convinced me to sit down. And remember, para que te hagas hombre, right? Those that speak Spanish just know what I say. So you could become a man, right? That's literally what he told me. Like, sit down. It's time for you to become a man. I was a little kid, Like, we're gonna sit down. We're gonna watch boxing. That a man in the building. What's up, man? And he says, "Sit down, see this." Man. I fell in love with boxing. I fell in love with boxing the moment that shit came out. I mean, I was just the pizzazz of Taylor, by the way, that movement of Taylor, the hand speed is something to behold. This guy, he was the pound for pound king at that time. Now, I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about pound for pound. Okay, I don't remember. I don't know anything about that, but I do remember watching this fight and thinking to myself, "Holy shit! How are these guys doing that?" Right? How are they going through this? Tater's landing blistering. That's the best way I could describe his combination. Blistering combinations on Chavez, bouncing his head all over the place. And it's not by design, right? Chavez just really couldn't do anything about it. By the time Chavez, who was not that slow, by the way, Chavez was in his prime. It was pretty decently fast. All right. He was no slouch himself. But the fact that Tater could, pull off so many punches, I mean, and not only the speed but the velocity in which he would, reload. It was unbelievable. All right, that guy was a machine gun in there. That was no handgun. That was brrrt, brrrt, like it was quick. He was fast. They were blistering, and he was definitely outboxing Chavez. There's no doubt about that. And it was clear from what I remember. Everyone watching that knew he's winning these rounds. But it's an interest. There's something interesting about war, right? You can win because all the rounds are battles, right? The whole fight is a war, but the rounds are battles. That's how we score a fight. So Tater was winning battle after battle after battle, but it looks like it's just in the end. I mean, the toll of the war was getting to him. Right, the war was getting to him. Those body shots by Chavez were getting to him, and you can slowly see, through the trajectory of that fight, how Tater was slowly starting to slow down. Right, Tater was starting to slow down in that fight. Even though he was still winning, it was still fast, but you could noticeably see by round 9, 10, 11, he's starting to slow down. Now, I could break it down better now, but when I was a kid, I wasn't breaking it down. I just fell in love with the sport, and it's all I wanted to do after that. I just wanted to watch boxing fights. Dad, when's the next fight? Dad, when's the next fight? When's Chavez fighting again? Chavez is fighting every damn 6 weeks. Man, I wish fighters did that today. All right, but great times, man. I remember, just going to watch Chavez fights with my dad, and watching Chavez fights with my uncle and my dad. Got more stories of that in the future. But man, I fell in love with boxing at that time, man. It was beautiful. Okay. Then the man says, Chavez Tater, that's a hell of a way to be baptized into the sport of boxing. That's a hell of a way to put it. I was baptized, okay, in front of the boxing gods. All right. You're baptized by blood in boxing, okay? The blood, sweat, and tears of fighters. You get baptized with that. All right. That's right. Very good way to put it. Then the man says he was introduced by Bruno and Tyson won. Wow. That's a hell of a way to be introduced to boxing. Trinidad de la Hoya says Afro-Rican. Not bad. I remember going with my dad, man. I don't know if you guys still have them in your area, but here there's still some. But, on the side of the road, there'll be these dudes that would sell like fruits and stuff and vegetables, and so you could like pull, and you would get them like pretty cheap. Right? There was this one guy that had like a stand right outside of his house. The backyard of his home was actually facing the street, the main street, and there was some room there. So he built like a little door for himself to go in and out of that backyard. And he had like a stand there with all these fruits, right? And he had a television. He had like a cord with a television there. And I would always go with my dad, with this gentleman, all right? My dad would buy some fruits from him and stuff. But I remember like we would go. He would specifically go on days where Mato Metal Pies was fighting, right? And those that don't know Mato Metal Pies, man, this dude, like, just crazy dude, man. Awesome, just awesome to watch. Okay, Jorge Pies. Okay, that most people know him. That's how you know him, right? So now that, right, as far as that goes, the reality is, those were some awesome times, man. Just watch. I don't even remember specifically because I was young, which fights we saw Pies. I just remember how crazy he was and the stunts he would do. Okay, and all that. I'll get to that, man. I just don't know how to do it. Okay, that's my thing, and I just don't want to. I think someone with a wrench should be able to block him. You have my permission to block that dude. All right. As far as my grandpa, man, look, my mom and dad had a divorce. All right, and for a while, right, I didn't have a. There was kind of like a period of time. More fortunately, for whatever, my mom and dad had issues, and for whatever reason, it impacted the kids too. All right. So if you're a parent and you got a baby mom or whatever, just remember how shit can impact the kids. All right. It's not about you; it's about the kids. Just throwing that out there. That goes for all the baby mamas started drama too. But long story short, I didn't have much of a connection with my dad for a couple of years. Thankfully, that did change in later years, and I'm thankful for that. Right. But when my dad, okay, when he was kind of away, we had moved with my grandfather. right? My grandma and my grandpa took us in. It was my brother, my little sister, and my older brother, and we were living in my grandparents' house, right? And a whole new thing started then, right? A whole new thing started. And this was my grandpa called them the Tecate fights. Okay. It's the solo boxeo, but he called them the Tecate fights because they were sponsored by Tecate, right? But it's just funny how he called it that. I'll never forget that. Oh, we're going to watch the Tecate fights, you know. And this is me as a teenager, man. Nothing like watching two unknown dudes scrap it out, right? In the middle of the ring, and I miss those days, man. I miss, you know, this stuff like that stuff on Spanish TV, but I haven't had time to really watch it. I need to get back to that. You know, that was fun, man. It was just like going in, not knowing who you're going for. There's just two young Mexican kids or two Hispanic kids or, you know, whatever, about to just go at it. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. I miss Friday night fights. You know, I do. That there was a place for it. There's levels to boxing, and Friday Night Fights was great for guys past their prime, for up and comers, for gatekeepers, for showcase fights. That's what Friday Night Fights was for. You know, for guys ranked 50th in the world going at it, whatever. That's what it was for. It gave us competitive fights. So I do miss those days. All right, I do miss those days for sure. All right. But I remember watching those, man. Those are great. My grandpa. Man, my grandpa. It was my cousin's quinceañera, man. Okay, listen to this one. Listen to this. It was my cousin's quinceañera. I'll never forget it. They made the quinceañera on the same Saturday as De La Hoya versus Vargas. All right? That's when they made it. And we're all like, man, how are we going to watch this fight? Like, seriously, how are we going to watch this fight? And now I knew how us, the cousins, were going to watch it. We're planning on sneaking out, going to one of my cousin's house. You're going to hear cousins a lot because I have a lot of cousins. It's a thing in Mexican families. Primos and primas all over the place. Vamos a ir a ver la pelea de La Hoya y de Vargas. I remember telling that to my grandpa. He looks over at my grandmother. He says, no puedo. I can't go see the fight. This is my granddaughter's quinceañera, he said. ¿Cómo yo me voy a ir para ver una pelea cuando mi nieta está teniendo su quinceañera santa? Right? Quinceañeras are a big deal in Mexican culture, right? It's celebrating when it's kind of like the Sweet 16, but more important than that, right? And he's supposed to dance with the quinceañera, right? They got that shit planned out. You got to dance with the quinceañera a little bit, Grandpa. So we'll be right back. Nope. He told me, hold on, he said. He told my grandmother, I'm going to go get something to drink, he said. And he walked towards the bar, looked over his shoulder, and he asked me, right? He told me, follow me. We're at the bar. He said, is your grandmother looking? ¿Está mirando tu abuelita? No está viendo. Is your grandmother watching? No, she's not watching, Grandpa. Why? Darted towards the door. He darted. All right, I never seen an old man move so fast. Right? I thought he had back problems, Grandpa. Well, what do you mean? I thought you were old. Well, all those times you made me mow the lawn because you said you're too old to do it. All right, all those times I went to the roof, okay, to replace the padding for you, or to turn off the air conditioner because it's winter time, and turn on the freaking calienton for you. Okay, I see what you're doing, Grandpa. All right. Well, now you're good. It is a boxing fight. And you fucking darted. I never seen an old man dart so fast ever. Right? Arthritis where? Arthritis? I don't got arthritis. I'm good. I swear, man, I felt like we were smuggling something, man. I felt like we are doing something illegal. Like, I never been so nervous leaving the place. I knew like what we were doing was wrong, right? I knew that in about 20 minutes they were going to do the dance, and the dad and the grandfather are supposed to do the dance. By the way, my uncle, her dad, he took off too. All right, that's right. He took off to his own daughter's quinceañera. All right, because he wanted to see De La Hoya get knocked out, according to him. Right. So anyway, we go and we're thinking, man, maybe it'll land like in a third, fourth round knockout, and then we'll just go back and nobody will notice. Right. So we show up. Great stuff. Okay, we show up packed, bro. This half of the people in that living room had tuxedos on. Okay, shit's insane. I never been to a fight with so many people with tuxedos on. Okay, it's never happened. You had dudes there that were there with dates, left their date at the quinceañera. That were there to watch the fight. All right, cousins of mine, there they were. Uncles of mine, there they were. And my grandpa, there he's supposed to be the example. The moment my grandpa snuck out, they all snuck out. Right? Chief left. I'm leaving too. Right? That's right. So they all go. We're there. We're watching De La Hoya versus Vargas. Okay, I'm a De La Hoya fan, man. All right. You guys can say whatever you want about De La Hoya, fishnets and all that. De La Hoya, the fighter, great fighter. All right. So I'm there. I'm watching this fight. First of all, good fight. It was a really good fight. I remember the first round, it looked like he might overwhelm this guy. Okay. It looked like Vargas might overwhelm De La Hoya. Great fight, by the way. Right, great fight. De La Hoya almost fell out of the ring in that first round. His face was all scraped after that first round, but he weathered that storm. And then he started to, set up combinations. His 1-2 was beautiful in that fight. And his hook was good. His jab got even better with Senior, man. With Mayweather Senior, he got a lot better. His right hand got better with Senior. Floyd Mayweather Senior doesn't get enough credit for that. But then he started to kind of do what he did with Alcazar, set up that hook, and that started to get to Vargas. All right, good, satisfying win by Vargas. I'll never forget my uncle. Vargas got knocked out, right? And I looked at him and said, "Oh, look," and he still ran like a little girl, to celebrate, to jump on the turnbuckle. But anyway, and but that was the way back. I remember we went from like a super high, right? Half of that room was going for Vargas. Half of that room was going for De La Hoya. Okay. I remember the super high. I remember my grandfather telling me De La Hoya's going to win that fight. Everybody's crazy. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. De La Hoya's going to win that fight, he told me. All right. And I listened to him. All right. So he said he's just a better boxer. He's going to beat him. Okay. Let me tell you something, man. Okay. Let me tell you something. De La Hoya won that fight. Woo! I mean, we went from high, and then it hit us. I don't know where we're like, oh shit, we got a quinceañera to go to, and this shit went. Not only did it go 12 rounds, we still stayed for the post-fight interviews. I remember Chavez walking out Vargas to the ring, by the way, and then he was nowhere to be seen after that, by the way. All right. We went from that and then to celebrating. We had a beer, and then we're like, oh shit, we gotta go back. First of all, my uncle left his own damn daughter's, quince, right? It's terrible. Like I was part of the court. Like this shit's insane. What am I doing? What was I doing? Like why are we here? Right? And then my grandpa, like, it dawned on him. Obviously, he was supposed to dance with the quinceanera, right? And then it dawned on, obviously my uncle, and everybody else that snuck out. They all snuck out. None of them got permission to go. Okay, they all snuck the hell out. Just kind of profit in the building, guys. Yeah, that was a good fight for sure. Seeing De La Hoya try the shoulder roll in that fight was funny, but awesome to watch with a great ending. It did help tire out the bigger, yet he did have to weather the storm. I, Believe it or not, I think it was effective. Believe it or not. But that's another discussion, right? It was something. We got back, right? I never seen so many dudes walk into a building with their heads down in my life. I never seen it, right? I never seen it. They withheld it. They did not proceed with anything until we all got back, right? And I'll never forget just the look that my grandmother gave my grandfather. Just the look, all right? And his look. And I said, God, you were in trouble, bro. Right? She controls everything. Every meal you have, where you sleep, everything. Like, you're fucked, right? I knew it. Okay. But was it worth it? I don't know. Right. But at the end of the day, that was something. Right. Oh, se les hace muy importante una pelea. Pero la quinceañera de la nieta, no, nadie les importa. La quinceañera de su hija no le importó, pero quieren ir a ver a De La Hoya y a Vargas. Right? My grandmother asked my dad, my grandfather, is he married to her or is he married to De La Hoya and Vargas? Right? ¿Con quién te casaste? ¿Te quieres ir a casar con ellos? Who did you marry? You couldn't wait, she said. You could have waited. You could have read the result in the newspaper, she said. Right? My grandpa, every morning, man, I forgot the name of so I don't even want to say it, but the Juarez newspaper over here, every day, okay, El Diario, I think it's called, but he would always read, always look at the boxing results and all the local boxing results. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. I mean, I'll never forget that quinceanera, man. He still got to dance, dad got to dance with his daughter. Grandfather got to dance with his granddaughter. It still happened. We all survived. Okay. But on channel, I'm new. Good work. What's up, Jimmy Allen? Welcome. Shout out to Phenom, man. That's definitely one of the best boxing channels I've ever seen. That guy's amazing. He does some great stuff. I want to talk about my grandfather, man. Some of his conversations he had with me. I learned a lot about boxing just talking to him, getting that knowledge from him. Okay. My grandfather came from Parral, Mexico. Okay. And he literally went up north his whole life. He kept going up north till he reached La Frontera, man. Till he reached El Paso, Texas. Right. Actually, scratch that. They actually ended up in Los Angeles first, and then they came to El Paso, Texas. All right. My grandfather worked everywhere. My grandfather worked in all the way up to. I remember when he told me he worked at Wada Wada, Washington. I thought he was making shit up. Like, Wada Wada, Washington. What the hell are you talking about? There's no Wada Wada. Like, I thought he just couldn't pronounce shit, and he still didn't pronounce it right. But I thought it was like some other name that he just couldn't pronounce, so he just called it Wada Wada. But there's a Walla Walla, Washington. Like, it actually exists, right? I thought he was just making the whole shit up. Oh, when I worked in Wada Wada, Washington. I go, okay, sure you did. But anyway, I remember he told me a story, man. I forgot if he was in LA or Las Vegas. I mix up some stories and locations sometimes. But he told me the story, man. I'll never forget the story. The story of El Pájaro Moreno, right? El Pájaro Moreno. You guys can look him up. All right. I always forget his actual name, but El Pájaro Moreno. I remember a place where he was working out, working at. He did different. He worked with steel a lot, but he did different construction jobs as well and other hard labor, blue collar jobs. He did all types of stuff. But he was working out of town. He Man, he got hyped up. Man, they had like this open, sparring, right? Where anybody can show up, and if they could hang like 2 rounds or more with El Pájaro Moreno, right? And they'll give you money, right? Because he needed work, right? Work as in sparring. He needed literally he needed some punching bags, movable punching bags that occasionally punch back. And they even told you like he's not going to hit you in the face. He's not even going to hit you in the body. He's just going to hit you in the forearms, okay, and in your shoulders. That's it. That's the only place El Pájaro Moreno is going to hit you, right? You could hit him wherever you want. You could hit him in upstairs in the head. You could hit him in the body. You could hit him anywhere, waist up. Free game. Go as hard as you want. Who wants to challenge? El Pájaro Moreno. All right. And my grandpa, I remember he said, "Man, I had to check it out. Right, I had to check it out." My grandpa was like in his 40s at that time, so he didn't try it. Okay, but he watched some other dudes, and he just remembers seeing El Pájaro Moreno hitting dudes so hard in the forearms, and in many cases a lot bigger than him, right? And just hurting these guys. And he's like, "Man, this dude's a beast." He said, right, like he couldn't believe it. Right, dudes were quitting after either halfway through that first round or before the second round started. Like, nah, I'm good. Keep the money, okay? Whatever they were offering. I think it was just like $100, $200. But hey, you think you take on this dude? Do it. You know what I mean? And so anyway, after battering a couple dudes, they're also hyping up a fight. This lower weight class, he was going to fight an American fighter with the last name Betts. I think it's Bessie. I think that's the name. Okay, an African American fighter. Okay, but he was like short, right? And my grandfather said he went to the weigh-in. He saw Bessie and he said, this little short dude ain't gonna beat El Pájaro Moreno. Dude got his whole check. Okay, it was on Friday. He got his whole check, and he bet his whole check, all of it, on El Pájaro Moreno because he knew El Pájaro Moreno was gonna win, right? And I'll never forget the way he tells the story. I'll never forget it. My grandfather was good with sound effects, right? It's the way he talked. And I kind of wish, man, I wish he was still alive, bro. Like I would let him just talk Spanish and just he would run like Latino fucking boxing YouTube and shit. But anyway, he would. I remember he's like, "Hey, little short dude ain't gonna do shit to El Pájaro Moreno. Este pájaro moreno no le va a hacer nada, le va a partir la madre a este pobre chavalo," right? And he, man, I cracked myself up, but he literally goes, and if you go to boxing, you'll see it, bro. It's a knockout. I remember I looked it up in boxing, I thought, holy shit, it's a true story. And he's like, "Yeah, Bessie just went in and boom, 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 and it was over." Pájaro Moreno went down, didn't even know what the fuck hit him. He couldn't get up. He was knocked the hell out. Pájaro Moreno did not get up. Betsy went in there, boom, 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 and it was over. Right? There went his entire. This dude's working out of town, dude. Okay, that check is to send to his wife and kids back home. He lost that money, all of it. Okay, because he fell for the hype. Back in the, there wasn't YouTube back then, guys. Okay, there wasn't where you could watch. There wasn't any of that. The way they would do it is they would have these guys. Exhibitions were more common back then. That they would do open sparring sessions or open workouts, or the public can show up. And he said, "I heard those shots, man. The way he was hitting those dudes in the forearms and they were quitting, the way he was beating up his sparring partners. And man, I was like, this dude's a beast." And he put his whole fucking check. Le tenía que hablar a tu abuela. Woo. You would always do that. Woo. y le tenía que hablar a tu abuela. I had to call your grandmother. I called your grandmother, and no, he did not say, okay, that he lost the money betting on a fight. He lied, and he said, el pinche gringo no me ha pagado. He said, his damn racist white boss hasn't paid him yet, he said. Because it's the only thing he could have told her where he would have got it chewed out, dude. Like, he, he told my grandmother, my boss is a damn racist. He hasn't paid me yet. I mean, he's not going to say, I fell for the hype and dude got knocked out in the first round, wife. Right? Betsy came in and Bessie, I think that's his name. Boom, 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 pow. Like, what the fuck? And it was over. All right. Oh, man. Oh, man. He said it's the only thing I could have told her where I wouldn't have taken shit. All right. I was like, I knew I was going to have to work double shifts for the next week or so. All right. But it's what he had to do. All right. They'll probably divorce his ass if he said that shit, dude. He told her years later. He felt bad. He's like, he was a really good boss. He always paid me on time. I never had issues with him. I had to lie about the poor guy. Okay. like, like, but that's all you could tell. This shit was insane, dude. It's just crazy. All right. Oh, man. I can't believe he said that. Well, I don't know. Most people have probably done the same shit. Okay. Unrivaled Boxing Talk and News says just subbed. Welcome. Oh, man. My grandfather, man, I tell you, bro. Something else. I can't believe he bet his whole check. The whole thing. Okay, just imagine betting your whole check, guys. Right? And losing it all. And your wife and kids are waiting for money because you got to pay the bills. All right? That's crazy. And you lost it because you were convinced. You saw a dude being like, this dude, he was so short. I knew Pájaro Moreno to beat his ass. And nah, dude. It was the other way around. Like, Pájaro Moreno went down, dude. Right? We'll learn more about Pájaro Moreno, bro. I'll get to do a video on that dude and this Bessie guy. I got to look more into that story. I seen it on BoxRank. I seen it. But the shit's insane. My grandpa, man, I remember telling me about always el boxeador y el fajador and what to watch for when you watch a fight, right? He always told me, todos siempre con el boxeo esperan para que algo pase. That's what he would tell me, right? He would wait for something. Most people watch boxing and they're literally just waiting for something to happen. All right? They're waiting for something. They're not paying attention to what each fighter is trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish, what they're setting up. And that's something you can actually watch. Not all of us can do it because we don't have the physical attributes or reflexes to do it, but we can witness it. And that's why I appreciate fighters that stick and move and fight off the back foot. First of all, there's been Mexican fighters that fought that way. But I appreciate that. All right? And a lot of fans don't, fine. But I'll never forget it, man, the way he would tell a story. He would be like, all right, he would be like, so it was something like this, like, el boxeador se mueve, se mueve, se mueve, se mueve, y mueve la cintura, y mueve la cintura. Like, he would always say that. They move and they move and they move from their waist, okay, and they move their head. And they got to keep moving. Y le pega, poof, y cáchame, poof, boom, cáchame, right? He would always say that, the way he would describe it, right? And basically saying that that's what the box is trying to do. Okay, it's a boom, boom, a 1-2, set up a right hand or a hook, and then they get on the move, right? Catch me. Boom, boom, catch me. Boom, boom, catch me, right? It was just beautiful the way he would describe it. This is him telling like a 9-year-old, right? And I'm kind of like digesting this information, okay, or 10, 11, however old I was. I'm digesting this information in my brain and it's being instilled in me. I was understanding shit that fucking people in their 30s that watch boxing don't even fucking understand. Right? So it was something to always behold and to watch. And he would always tell me about what each fighter is trying to do, right? How a crowd is there to be worked, right? People think that they're there because, oh, I paid money, so I deserve to get a brawl and a scrap. No, like you're there to be worked, right? Fighters are there to work the crowd to their advantage, one way or another, right? If you're a fighter and you're fighting overseas, you want to shut that crowd up, kill the crowd, right? If you're a fighter fighting in front of your home or crowd, you want to get that crowd hyped up and on your side, right? If you're the brawler or the bruiser or the aggressive fighter, okay, it's you want to get that crowd to turn against the guy that isn't coming at you. Make the and try to the booing is supposed to discourage the other fighter from sticking to his game plan and from getting away from his game plan, doing something stupid like trading or trying to become a bull when he's supposed to be the matador against the naturally aggressive fighter. These are things that were taught to me, explained to me at 10 fucking years old. Crowds are there to be worked. They're not there like you're just spectators. You should already know like what the two fighters fight like before you're even there in the first place. You could boo all you want. You paid because you want to see that dude get knocked out. He's not just gonna let himself get knocked out, right? The other dude's got to earn that knockout. And if he gets, and discouraged because he's hearing boos, and that's on him. So that was something that was instilled in me from my grandfather. All right. And if I were to tell my grandfather about the Mexican style propaganda bullshit, he'd be the first one to say, well, that's a bunch of shit. No saben de qué chingados están hablando. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Afro Rican G says, I know exactly how that shit feels. Like I lost a check betting on Coda Margarita 1. Holy shit. AJ10, I'm listening to the playback. I remember seeing Deloya Vargas live at my house. Most of the men wanted Vargas. All the women wanted Deloya. Deloya, yeah, definitely. I have one cousin that I could not watch the Deloya fight with. I just couldn't do it. It was ridiculous. That's a boxing story for another time, man. But like the way she would yell, dude. And then yelling, don't hit him in the face. No le peguen en la cara. Like, shut the fuck up. Esto es boxeo, like Vargas would say. I mean, not Vargas, Mayorga. This is boxing. What do you mean don't hit him in the face? Who watches boxing and says that? Like, what? Come on. Couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I remember my grandfather always saying, no puedes ver el boxeo con las viejas. No puedes. Okay? You can't watch boxing with these women. Unless, nowadays you got women that actually watch boxing and understand boxing. So, but back in those days, man, they weren't. Women fucking hated Chavez, bro. Like they hated the. I don't know. They just wanted him to lose, man. That's another story for another day. I got to do a boxing story series about that. I remember fighters and money, man. Right? You'll never hear DStyle come on here, right? And be like, oh, look at all the money my fighter made. And oh, yeah. I mean, of course, you have to talk about the money and stuff like that, especially if it's stopping a fight from happening. And you have to be objective and kind of analyze the situation and be like, look, guys, this guy deserves a lion's share. Let's be realistic. Whatever the case is, but you'll never see me do a series about how many gold watches a fighter has or none of that. You'll never hear me say that. Right? Because I remember one time, I forgot what fight it was. Deloya made all this money. Okay, I think it was probably the Mayorga fight. I remember telling my, or way before that actually, telling my grandfather, "Hey, Deloya made whatever it was, 20 million, whatever it was at the time." My grandpa asked me, "Y eso qué hace para ti o qué?" And like, what does that do for you or what? And I remember saying, I go, I go, oh, because he's Mexican, and and it's good to see a Mexican making a lot of money. He's like, and y y qué y qué eso qué hace para ti o qué? Él te va a dar dinero a ti o qué? Is he gonna give you money or what? Are you in his camp? Are you worry about your money? Don't worry about the lawyer's money or anybody else, any other man's money, right? I learned that real young, real young. Well, how about that money you bet on Pájaro Moreno, Grandpa? All right, anyway, let's get back to my dad, man. Once again, happy Father's Day to you guys. My dad, I started talking to him a lot again. Never lost full contact with him, but we started to bond a lot in my late teens, early 20s, up until last year when he unfortunately passed away. You know, and one of the ways we started to bond a lot is one of the ways we like, hey, let's meet up to watch this fight or that fight. That's what kind of broke that ice, and it came back to boxing. You know, that broke the ice. That kind of got it together, and I'll never forget, man. I went to, I think it was a Super Bowl. I forget what it was. It was some football game that we watched, and I told him, hey, there's these fighters. My dad had kind of not kept up with boxing that much in recent times, and I said, on Showtime, because I noticed he had Showtime, and I said, Marquez versus Vasquez too. They're gonna fight, And I remember wanting to see that fight. Okay, like I remember wanting to see that fight, and it was something else, man. Right? It was something. Let me see if I can. No, it's too hot. Damn, it's okay. So I wanted to see that fight, man, and I just remember him being like, yeah, sure. He didn't know who they were. Right? He hadn't really kept up with boxing um, much in years. I got him back into boxing. Like he got me into boxing when I was a little kid. Right when they told me, no, you're not gonna go right now. You're not gonna go play with your cousins. You're gonna sit down. Y te vas a ser hombre. You're gonna become a man. You're gonna watch boxing right now. Right? And I was baptized into boxing. And then I got him back into boxing. I said, you got to watch this fight. Rafael Marquez, man, I was a big fan of Rafael Marquez um, versus Vasquez. Good fighter as well. The second fight, right? What's up, QuestX? I remember watching that fight, man, with my dad. It was a great fight. Really, really good fight. Back and forth. All right. I remember Rafael Marquez being pissed off at the end. I felt he won, but what are you going to do? Okay. But that was something, man. And after that, my dad will just randomly be like, hey, I ordered the Canelo fight, or I ordered the Mayweather fight. I ordered the Pacquiao fight. And I'll go to his house to watch it, and it started that bond again. And those were some good times. Okay. I saw the Mosley Mayweather fight with him, right? I remember that. What was it? The second round where Mosley hurt him. Dramatic shit. Great stuff. All right. And the last fight I saw with my dad was Triple G versus Canelo, the rematch, right? Where that Mexican style fucking shit was put to rest, right? They wanted to come forward, and he didn't come forward, right? He said he ran all night the first fight. What happened in the rematch? Triple G. What happened? All right. Anyway, that's that. As far as my grandpa, man, I mean, he was living under, he was getting Social Security for the, final decades of his life, and like 2 decades or so, whatever it was. So he didn't have a lot of money, right? He did it. So whenever there was a fight on pay per view, he either got it with the bunny ear antennas over there in Juarez. Okay, Televisa, shout out, got the free pay per views all the time. It was just in Spanish, or he had to go somewhere to watch. Right. The only problem with the Juarez feed is that it was in delay. You know, so even though there was no social media back then, I mean, it would still, you still weren't watching it live, or somebody would call you to spoil it, or you would see it on the news, the results on the news or something. So I would invite my grandpa over to my house, man. I would just order the fights. The one I remember the most was the Marquez Barrera fight. You know, there wasn't a lot of noise amongst my family for that fight specifically, but I knew my grandpa wanted to watch it. I wanted to watch it too, obviously. Right? Or in my house, we watched that fight. Good fight. That's actually an underrated fight, man. That's a very underrated fight. Good performance by Marquez, too. I think Marquez boxed beautifully in that fight. They went back and forth in some rounds. I gave Marquez about 8 rounds in that fight. I'll never forget Marquez post fight. Marquez never learned a fucking lick of English, but he definitely learned how to say "I won." All right, I win. I win the fight. I win every round. Right? That's like that. He learned how to say that. That he learned for sure. Marquez, you want to learn English? Nah. But maybe me puedes enseñar cómo decir que yo gané todos los rounds. Sure, so say that you won every round. I win the fight. I win the fight. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. A lot of memories with both guys, man. I can't really go over everything, every single fight, but um, I just the last thing I'll say about my grandpa, all right, is he did kind of, he's the one that told me el tiempo es invicto. Like Father Time is invincible. It's not Father Time is undefeated, right? It's undefeated. Nobody beats Father Time, right? And I remember when Chavez lost the first fight with Randall, and then it was the downslide was starting. He just had what should have been a loss, but the draw with Whitaker. Like I remember the downslide was starting, and he was trying to struggle against fighters that he shouldn't have struggled with, but he was pulling off some victories. He lost to De La Hoya the first fight, and I remember all my uncles, all of them, every single last one of them, were in denial. Okay. No, era de pura chiripada, la pelea era planeada. ¿Cómo que nomás le pegó a Chávez así? Let me see if I can go on camera for this. I gotta go on camera for this shit. Gotta do it. Let me give this a shot. I know it's hot. It might look blurry, but forgive me. But the laptop's not that bad right now, so it's okay. This is my uncle, all right? This is my uncle. ¿Cómo que nomás le hizo así y lo cortó? ¿Cómo que nomás le hizo así y lo cortó? ¿Cómo? ¿Cómo que le hizo así y lo cortó? Esa pelea estaba comprada, esa pelea. Quieren que De La Hoya sea show y todo. No le ganó a Chávez, no le ganó. That's what they said. All right? Denial. Joe Lopez 40 out says Marx's English is better than Danny Garcia's Spanish. You can say that again. No, nomás lo tocó así nomás y lo ay. Like they swore that the fight was bought out. Right? My uncles were making up all these stories, bro. They were just making up all these stories that Chavez was paid off to cut himself with a blade so he could just get tapped. Like De La Hoya hit him with a fucking vicious hook, dude, right? You can watch that fight, hear that thud. Right? I don't know what the hell they were done. But anyway, I remember one time, like one of my uncles was like, they would say that, but then they would also talk about the La Revancha, right? They all had the Chavez bandana. You know that little. I don't know if bandana is the right word for it, right? But you know that red thing that goes across and it's tied on the back. My uncle had one hanging, okay, on the review mirror of his truck, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. Like he had it there, and then he's like, it was announced that Chavez and the lawyer were going to have the rematch. I'll never forget this. Oh, they're going to have the rematch. It's a bandana, fine, right? They're going to have the rematch, all right? They're going to have the rematch. I'll try to turn off the camera for a little bit here. I got a nice cool breeze going on, so the heat's not that bad. Look, he gets the bandana, dude. I wish I had something like to kind of show you. Check it out. Like this is him with a bandana, okay? The raggedy ass bandana. He's holding the bandana like this. He's like, the day of the fight, he goes to his truck. Like, I'm gonna go to my truck because I'm gonna put on the Chavez bandana, man. I'm gonna put the shit on because this time the fight is not bought out, right? So according to them in interviews, Chavez was giving code words that this time the fight's for real, right? Because he was saying that it's personal and that he liked the way De La Hoya, made him wait. And, you see, he made him wait for the rematch, like all that bullshit, right? He goes to his truck, he comes back, and he's like, look at this. It looked pink because of the sun, like the red turned pink, right? And it was like half torn and shit. And he's like, mira nomás, todo el tiempo que duró De La Hoya para darle la revancha, todo el tiempo que duró para darle la revancha a Chávez. Ok, mira nomás, mira lo que le pasó, tanto tiempo que duró, mira. He was basically saying, look at this. Look how long it took De La Hoya to give Chavez his rematch. Look at what happened to him. I've had that bandana on that review mirror since then. It's torn. It's all faded. This is De La Hoya's fault. That's what he said. Shit's hilarious, right? But anyway, I remember. I remember my grandfather, man, being like, my uncle's name was Beto. He's like, Beto, ya, Chávez ya acabó, ya. Tuvo su tiempo, ya se acabó, ya. Toda la vida tiene un principio y tiene un fin, right? Translation, Beto, enough. Chavez is done. Chavez had his time. Chavez's time is gone. In life, there's a beginning and there's an end, right? I'll never forget that. I'll never forget it. All right. And after the fight, he was like vindicated. Like, I told you. No quiero decirles que les dije, pero pues les dije. Right? Lord in the house, what's up, man? AJ10 in the house, by the way. Joe Lopez 40 ounce also. Shout out to you. Joe Host in the house. Salute DStyle. Happy Father's Day, guys. Happy Father's Day, guys. All right. And by the way, don't let the title fool you guys, man. I know it says my first Fatherless Father's Day, but it's not a day. It's tomorrow, man. I've already done the morning, right? That's already happened. This is a day to celebrate, man, because memories, they live forever, right? Memories live forever, man. And if you still have your dads, man, like if you're beefing with your dad, that's a shame, but try to work it out, okay? If you haven't called your dad today, call your dad. Go spend time with your dad. Watch some fights with your dad, all right? If you have a dad that's a fight fan, man, it's a blessing, dude. Like if you're a fight fan and you have a dad or an uncle or an elder in your family that also loves you, man, watch some fights with them, man. Like you will build some memories. You will remember like where you were, what you did, what was said when you watched that fight. Like boxing does that, dude. There's something magical about this sport. Like, nobody goes back to watch a whole fucking football game. Like, nobody does that. Okay, who does that? This is not a thing, dude. All right, sure, maybe you got to be a super hardcore, but people, you could go back, man. Go back and rewatch a fight, dude. You will remember where you watched it, who you were with, what the reactions were in every round. There's just something magical about it. This is a magical sport. It's a good way to break the ice as well. Joel, before the outside, I watched Chavez De La Hoya won on ESPN yesterday. Chavez got a big cut in the first round. They swore, right? This was them. I swear to God, this was them. I swear to God. All right? I swear to God. Nomás le pegó así y lo cortó. Yo vi a Chávez. They brought up all the other fights. Randall le pegaba a Chávez y la cabeza se le vio así. Y nunca lo cortó. Ay, ahora De La Hoya nomás le pega así y lo cortó. All right? That's what they would do, man. Oh, I saw Randall bounce Chavez's head back. He never cut him. De La Hoya just goes like that, and all of a sudden he's cut. Right? That shit's crazy. I'll never forget that day, man. He just shut that shit down. Chavez is done. Right? It's not to accept it. They were in so much denial, dude. Right? Like, they were in so much denial. The denial was insane, bro. Right? The denial was insane. To a lot of the hardcore Chavez fans, De La Hoya is still a puss. Why don't, man? Look, I'll admit, man, I don't like a lot of shit De La Hoya did after a lot of shit that came out, man. But the fighter, man, he was a really good fighter. A lot of my uncles never gave him the credit. Okay. All the fights were paid off. Oh, nomás andan, no, porque quieren que las viejas se metan en el boxeo, por eso hacen que gane De La Hoya. Right? Every single time. Oh, the only reason De La Hoya wins is because the powers that be want him to win because they want all the chicks to watch boxing too, because it sells, right? Oh, well, did you see the Sumbo? The Sumbo was packed with nothing but women. Right? And that's what they would say. It was insane, dude. Oh, okay. De La Hoya was just, he was just winning fights because they wanted women to watch boxing too. Dolo's 40 ounces. He was in shock when Chavez lost to De La Hoya. I wasn't. You know why? My grandpa told me De La Hoya was going to win. Va a ganar De La Hoya. De La Hoya le va a ganar. De La Hoya is going to win this fight. Okay. My grandfather followed the career of Chavez. He knew. And he was also following De La Hoya. He knew it was a rat. He knew it was a rat for his ass. He knew what was about to happen. Right? He even told me before the fight. I kid you not, man. Man, I still wish my grandfather was alive, dude. Like, I would, like, literally bring him on here and just have him talk boxing. I would do the translation. It would be epic shit, man. He was a walking, talking boxing encyclopedia. He really was. It's he remembered fights, the details in fights, right? He was a big Joe Louis fan, right? My grandfather was from the age of Joe Louis, right? I mean, that's what he was. My uncles and dad kind of, 70s growing up, they were more like Ali. But my grandfather was a big Joe Louis fan, man. A big Joe Louis fan. But he heard the fights on the radio. He never watched them fight, but he remembers fights on the radio. And he would just tell me, man, everything he heard, man. It's crazy. I mean, he would tell me about how, he was just a kid at the time. I mean, I'm pretty sure he remembers that the way I remember, like, at a real, like, early 90s shit, So he was just a kid at that time, but he just remembers telling me how the streets were empty in Mexico. The streets were empty because people were inside listening to the Joe Louis fights. Like, when they say the world stopped, like, they're not lying. Right? They're not lying, man. They really aren't. They just aren't. Okay? So that's some crazy stuff. But he had a lot of stories, man, and I have a lot more stories to tell. I'm gonna do this one more time. I know a lot of people came in late, but let me bring this up one more time before I close this out. Right, I'm gonna read this before I close this out, guys. Right, for those that just came in, those on archive, you've probably already heard it, so you can move on. But let's hear it again. Today is my today is Father's Day. My first fatherless Father's Day. I learned life lessons from both my father, who passed away in October 2018, and my grandfather, who passed in July of 2009. The man I am today, how I act, what I say, how I treat others, it was instilled by them. My love for boxing was instilled by them. The memories I made watching fights with them, I will never forget them. Memories can live forever, even after your passing, if you share them. That's what I am doing now. I spoke about them at both of their funerals, told stories about them to those that knew them. Now I tell stories about them to friends, acquaintances, and people I barely know online. Yet, even though I barely know or know anything at all of your regular lives, there's one thing that bonds us: a worldwide sport known as boxing, a sport that transcends language. The love for the sport should be a higher power. I swear. Sometimes things happen in this sport. It makes me believe there really is boxing gods out there. I fell in love with boxing at a very young age. Strangely, I don't remember that day itself or the way to my uncle's house that night even, but I do remember being in my uncle's living room with my dad. My dad sat on a sofa, and since the living room was crowded, the adults sat in the sofas and chairs, the kids sat on the floor. My back was against the sofa, sitting in front of my dad. I was a young kid. Little did I realize what I was about to see. It was Maldrick Taylor going up against Julio Cesar Chavez. This was a fight for pound supremacy, and the only fight that deserves the thunder versus lightning bill. The hand speed of Taylor was something to behold. The fastest hands I have ever seen till this day. It truly was like watching lightning move. And a prime Chavez with a thundering bodywork, redefined determination. I don't know anything about weight classes. I don't know anything about belts or organizations. I was just a kid who just witnessed two warriors battle it out. It was violently poetic. It was a science of violence, a song of lightning and thunder. It was the best introduction I could have had. And from that day, I became a fan. And to my last day, I will remain a fan of boxing. I may hate politics, the politics. I may hate the agendas. I even hate the dumbing down of the sport some boxing fans do. I may not like the majority of the press, the promoters, and the action of fighters outside of the ring. But the sweet science, I will always love that. And there you go. All right. And one last thing, the last thing. All right. One, I'm glad I was able to watch, one more pay per view with my dad about 2 months before he passed. It was totally unexpected what happened. But fortunately, he passed away. I'm glad I was able to watch some boxing with him, man, for sure. Shared a lot of memories, debated a lot. It was great stuff. And my grandpa, back in 2009, I'll never forget it. He was in hospice care, right? He was in hospice care, and but he would come in and out, right? And I remember he asked me. I was there sitting next to him. He's like, "What day is it? ¿Qué día es?" I said it's Friday. He's like, ¿Qué tiempo es? Like, what time is it? I told him it was around 7 p.m. And for a moment, he lit up and he said, "We got to watch the fights. Turn on the TV. Están las peleas del Tecate." And we watched one more fight. This is DStyle Boxing. Keep it boxing.